weird whenever TMZ is left speechless after interviewing Palm Beach Pete, the guy who looks like Jeffrey Epstein.
Wait, hold on. Wait, in 2019, you're saying you lived in New York City?
Yes.
Oh, so you've been everywhere he goes.
All they were doing was asking Palm Beach Pete where he was living in certain years, and he was telling them he was living in cities where Jeffrey was living at the same time. Him granting this interview with TMZ is part of basically his world tour of trying to prove that he is not the man everyone is saying.
Morning, everybody. This is Palm Beach Pete. I'm not Jeffrey Epstein. I'm just Palm Beach Pete. I'm so not Jeffrey Epstein. Hey, everybody. This is Palm Beach Pete. I'm not Jeffrey Epstein. I'm Palm Beach Pete. I'm Palm Beach Pete. It's Palm Beach Pete. Nothing to do with Jeff Epstein. But as Palm Beach Pete. I'm not Epstein. I'm just Palm Beach Pete. Totally not Jeffrey Epstein. He's dead.
Has kicked off the conspiracy theory that was already going on about this man, but now they are comparing his dental records, they are comparing the wrinkles on his face, smile lines, the bags underneath his eyes. But his family is still saying, no guys, this is just Palm Beach Pete. He is not Jeffrey. We just thought TMZ was shocked whenever they interviewed this man, but now they have found this man in the files. These two they are assuming is Palm Beach Pete, because in an email they said, saw your twin last night, my heart almost jumped out of my chest when I saw him. The similarity is unbelievable.
Population control and even the reverse of that is something that is now making headlines. China likely does not have 1.1 billion people, that they've consistently lied about their population, and that they probably have something closer to 650 million or 700 million people. But they want the rest of the world to believe that they have all these people. Greece is in trouble because Greece went through this very long-term economic, it was depression. It wasn't even a recession, it was a depression. Doctors, lawyers, engineers, businessmen, they just left. The shrinkage in Russia's population, if it keeps declining at its current rate, you're gonna like this. In 150 years, there won't be any Russians. They just won't exist anymore.
What's the State Department gonna do? They
I know,
won't have
right?
anything to call
Then
out.
what do you do? Now, of course, immigration changes that calculus, but the possibility that countries just can no longer remain viable.
Have you noticed how certain cities just blow up overnight? Jobs show up, prices spike, everyone starts moving there at once. It looks organic. But what if it's not? What if opportunity isn't random, it's placed? Small shifts, job markets, housing, media push. Just enough to guide people without them realizing it. Because if you can influence where people go, you control everything that follows. So ask yourself, did you really choose where you live, or were you nudged there? Follow to find out what happens next.
So why would you be doing this of all interviews? I mean, you could do an interview with anyone. You're doing an interview with me. Obviously, you're going to take abuse for doing that. Like, why would you do that?
Because I think it's silly not to talk to people. I think whether we agree or not,
right?
That has nothing to do with it. You know, it's like, this is what it's all about. Let's talk about it. Let's debate. And you know, I've been shut out.
Wait, that sounds like right-wing extremism and whataboutism.
But I've been shut out. You know, some platforms will not have me on.
Why?
They don't like that I'm, you know, an independent thinker. I'm not part of the herd. I'm not part of the go along to get along gang, so to speak. So, you know, I'm an outsider. And so, you know, I'm not part of the club. So I have to go places for one, that I'm welcome, and where I can voice my opinion without somebody, you know, saying I'm a bad person and that they never want to have me on their platform again.
What platforms have banned you?
I've been, you know, I tried to go on The View. They didn't have me on The View.
Why?
Well, a few of the guests just really didn't like where I was coming from. So, or a few of the hosts, I mean. So that's what I was told by the producers. You know, I don't know if the producers was just copping out and using some of the hosts to not have me come on and explain myself, but...
You'd be a good booking for them.
I've been on there before.
Yeah.
You know, it's just when I've became an independent thinker, when I've, you know, I'm not, you know, I don't follow their brand of politics, I guess.
But if you can't think for yourself, then you're not really free, are you?
No, you're not. You're not. But I've been excluded.
One of the most seen crops that doesn't exist is the eggplant. This has never and will never look like an egg. In the 1700s, Europeans were growing small white fruits that looked like eggs hanging on a vine. The British seed catalogs described them as eggplants, and that's how the name was first recorded in 1763. It was exotic and no one else had it, but because it was white, it was bruised really easy. But the darker varieties produced more fruit, and they also tasted much better. That's why growers standardized around purple until the white ones slowly disappeared. The name had already stuck, and every other language moved on, while English speakers are still using a name that made perfect sense in 1763 and describes almost nothing that you can buy today, which is pretty insane.
They know Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon. That's the only reason they're comfortable attacking them. Because they know Iran cannot attack back with nuclear weaponry. And they arrogantly thought their Iron Dome was going to protect them. But it literally collapsed within 24 hours. A lot of people may have seen earlier videos where a whole bunch of Iran's weapons were being intercepted by the Iron Dome. The Iron Dome, by the way, actually shoots a missile up to intercept and blow up other missiles. But what they didn't get is that Iran was intentionally sending old missiles to wear out, to use up the defense. And once they felt like they had sufficiently worn down the defenses of the Iron Dome, then they started unleashing the heavy duty stuff. And Iran has hypersonic missiles. And I don't know if you've seen one of those on video. It is insane how fast they come in. You're not getting out of the way of a hypersonic missile. You may be able to see some other type of missile up in the air heading your way. You run for the hills. You're not running from a hypersonic missile. As fast as you see it, it's there. It travels faster than the speed of sound. So it hits you before you even hear it coming. They've also unleashed a new type of weaponry that we've never even seen before. Hey Siri, how many missiles does Iran have? It's going to be in the thousands. 3,000 ballistic missiles. They're going to level Israel like a parking lot.
Watch it, just a comment. You see what it did to the back of the sun? What's up, gang? Welcome back. So a couple months ago, I reported about the aliens coming back in November. And a lot of y'all in the comments like this one is just a comment, or people be like, oh, it's November, December, I still don't see nothing. Are y'all supposed to see them? Are y'all supposed to like interact and talk with them? I'm confused. It definitely was not a comment. Let me give y'all an update. Y'all a little confused. The 3i Atlas actually been orbiting our solar system for a minute now, for a while. These last couple months, yeah. And I guess allegedly they had scouts as well. They was orbiting around the sun and it was going a certain direction and changed coordinates out of nowhere and orbited a little bit more before it entered the back of the sun. Yes, gang. Y'all, they put a huge hole in the back of the sun. Did y'all know that? What does it look like to y'all? A hole on the back of the sun. It looks perfectly like a butterfly, which we really get to see these nowadays. I still see the yellow ones once in a while, but never those blue monarch ones or the other butterflies we used to see when we were young. And by the way, gang, go back in Cube of Lore season 1 and watch this video if you kind of confused with what I'm talking about. But yes, y'all, comments cannot travel like this. I'm sorry. I wish I could tell you it was a comment, but there was intelligence behind that aircraft or whatever it is. And it's crazy to actually, you know, flew through our solar system and avoided Mars. Looked like they was about to crash into each other when it met like this point, because Mars was right here, came all the way around, and 3 Atlas was going right through it, but it went right past it. Then it came around and went in the sun. So if I would want an alien like lair or like a command center that humans can't read or can't get there at all, I'd put it in the sun. I think that was a door inside the sun's core. I don't believe it's really a sun, it's something else. There ain't no way it just went through the sun.
Like African Americans being, it's part of my culture. I don't care what anybody says. My friends, a lot of my friends are African American playing football. Southern, they're my boys. It's like, nah, you know. And you study American history, and you really study how African Americans have suffered. You go, You know how many African Americans are hardworking? Yep. All about education. Yep. So what are you going to say? W.E.B. Du Bois, who was the first to get a PhD at Harvard, he wasn't working hard? Right. I'm talking about in the early 1900s when they didn't let us have shit. Right. How did he get a PhD at that time? You're talking about Lewis Latimer, who invented the filament for the light bulb. That's the reason why Edison, when they were trying to invent the light bulb, it was all kerosene. So it was exploding. I read the whole book. I read Edison's biography. It was all exploding everywhere. And Lewis Latimer, black dude, apprentice, that filament that you see in the light bulb is a black man that made it. Because every February was Lewis Latimer. Right. But he was the one that created it. When it was, they didn't allow. We appreciate that. We appreciate it, but African Americans have always been hardworking. But no, African Americans have been hardworking, but I don't know. But opportunity. What about the appreciation of the hard work for the immigrants who came to this country and worked hard? But here's the thing is the Civil Rights Bill is the reason why our parents got to come over here. 1964, Lyndon Baines Johnson, who was one of the most racist son of bitches on the planet, had to sign that civil rights. But Martin Luther King is sitting right next to him. Right. Yeah. So that is the reason why Koreans can come here. Koreans, Indians, Arabs, Nigerians. It's because of the Civil Rights Bill. Right. It's because of African Americans, foundational black, coming in here, busting their ass, being treated like shit, being hung, lynched. Jim Crow, from slavery was Jim Crow, segregation, Reconstruction, being promised that they were going to get this, fighting every war. Black people fought in every single war and still being disrespected, not being able to buy homes. You understand? Burning up of black towns. And people go, well, why ain't they? They saw opportunities. There were black Wall Streets. There were black banks, black hospitals, and they came.
France is still taking $500 billion a year out of Africa right now, out of their 14 ex-colonies, because they made them sign the Pact of the Continuation of Colonization back in the late 50s. And they had no choice but to sign.
And what does that look like? Because that means, whenever these 14 countries that are, part of that, like when they have goods that they want to export, they can't because...
Yes, they can, but they have to export them to France.
They have to export them to France.
And then have to buy back. They have to buy back the products. They export the natural resources, the raw materials, and then they have to buy back the products from France.
With their money.
With their money. Now, France also forces them to give up to 85% of their GDP to France. Up to 85%, right? They force them to give them French companies the first right of refusal for every public or private contract, right?
So if they say, hey, we got some cocoa beans here, we want to sell it to America.
No economic sovereignty, no food sovereignty, no power sovereignty, right? Because they're forced, again, to export their resources to France and then buy back the products to survive. That's what's going on right now.
And this is why the countries are kicking them some.
Exactly, and that's why, and France is taking the $500 billion and they invested in the stock market in France to the tune of trillions of dollars. Africa's not getting that. France is keeping that. And if somebody speaks up, they turn off the faucet of the currency because France is printing the currency for those 14 countries. That's why now you have people present like Burkina Faso.
What's the other guy? Niger and Mali.
Niger.
Those guys.
Exactly.
I'm glad it's happening. It's real.
Who are getting together.
Yes.
And they're kicking out France. Because what happened before, if a country said no, France would pour concrete in their sewage system, in their water supply. They would destroy the schools and the hospitals before they leave, right? Then they would come in with mercenaries.
Yeah.
And they would take people out. Lumumba, Thomas Sankara,
Patrice Lumumba.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what's going on right now. So colonization is not over.
Picture on her phone.
Boom.
Look at that. Oh, that's the nigga. Oh.
He's pissed.
Look at his face. Oh.
Wake up early, bitch. I gotta get some move. In my pockets, I got cheese.